Chapter 1. Breaking Free from the Slow Lane. Most people are told the same story about money from the moment they can walk. Go to school, get good grades, land a stable job, save diligently, and someday, maybe when you're 65, you'll finally be free. That's the script. It's neat, predictable, and safe. But let me ask you, does it sound inspiring? Or does it sound like a long wait for a freedom you might never actually live to enjoy? Pause and ask yourself, if you follow this path, will you be living or will you be waiting to live? The Slow Lane Trap. Imagine this. You wake up every morning, hit the snooze button a few times, and drag yourself out of bed to commute to a job that doesn't light your soul on fire. You clock in, do your work, clock out, and at the end of the month, you get a paycheck. Maybe you're fortunate enough to stash away 10% into a retirement account. People pat you on the back and say you're being responsible. But deep down, you feel it. Something's missing. That's the slow lane, a path paved with delayed dreams. It promises that if you sacrifice your youth, health, and time today, you might one day enjoy the fruits of your labor in old age. But here's the cruel truth. The slow lane doesn't guarantee freedom. It guarantees waiting. A wake-up call. I once met a man in his mid-60s. He had followed the script perfectly. College degree, stable career, retirement savings. On paper, he did everything right. But when I asked him about his dreams, his eyes grew heavy. I wanted to travel the world, he said. Start a small vineyard, maybe even write a book. I asked him if he planned to do it now, in retirement. He shook his head. My knees hurt. My wife isn't well. Traveling isn't realistic anymore. Friends, that's the tragedy of the slow lane. You arrive at the so-called finish line only to realize you don't have the health, energy, or freedom to enjoy the prize. Pause here and reflect. Are you postponing life until someday? The myth of playing it safe. The world tells you that the slow lane is safe. A steady paycheck, predictable promotions, gradual savings. But let's be brutally honest, it isn't safe at all. Think about it. If you rely on a single paycheck, your entire financial life depends on the decisions of one company, one boss, one industry. Lose your job, and suddenly the safe lane becomes a cliff. On the other hand, those who take the fast lane, who learn to create value, build systems, and scale, often find that their wealth and security grow stronger because they're in control. Safety isn't about clinging to a paycheck. Safety is about owning your destiny. A different path. Now, imagine another scenario. You wake up excited, not because it's Friday, but because every day feels like freedom. Your work is something you own, something you've built. Instead of trading hours for dollars, your business, your investments, your systems are working for you, even while you sleep. This is the fast lane, a path of accelerated wealth creation. Not a lottery ticket, not an overnight get-rich scheme, but a strategic, disciplined way of designing a life where wealth is created in years, not decades. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter, with leverage. The turning point. You may be wondering, but isn't the slow lane better than nothing? Yes, if survival is your goal, but if freedom is your goal, the slow lane is a dead end. I'll tell you something powerful. Every millionaire who built wealth in their lifetime made one critical decision to get off the slow lane. They chose to question the script, take control, and find a faster road. And that decision, my friend, is available to you right now. The price of staying stuck. Here's the cost of staying in the slow lane. You'll always be trading time for money. Your income will always be capped by hours in a day. Inflation will eat away at your savings. And worst of all, you'll spend your best years waiting. Do you really want to gamble your one precious life on the hope that retirement will finally deliver happiness? Or do you want to design a life where you can experience freedom while you're still young enough to enjoy it? A personal choice. Let me ask you a simple but life-changing question. Are you willing to reject the slow lane? Because that's where the journey begins. Not with a business plan, not with money in the bank, but with a choice. A choice to say, I refuse to wait decades for permission to live. I choose to accelerate. I choose the fast lane. If you agree, type it right now in the comments. I choose the fast lane. Say it out loud. Feel the conviction in your voice. This declaration is the first step toward rewriting your story. Preparing for the journey. Before we dive deeper into the mechanics of the fast lane, I want to prepare your mindset. This isn't about chasing flashy cars or shallow riches. The fast lane isn't about materialism. It's about freedom. Freedom of time. Freedom of choice. Freedom to wake up and decide what your day looks like. As you listen to this book, keep that image in mind. Imagine what your life could look like if money was no longer a leash around your neck but a tool in your hands. Pause and ask yourself, if you didn't have to worry about money, what would you do differently tomorrow morning? Closing thoughts for Chapter 1. The slow lane is crowded, familiar, and easy to follow. That's why so many people stay there. But the fast lane is different. It requires courage. It requires questioning the norm. It requires you to think differently about time, money, and wealth. But here's the good news. You don't have to wait decades. You don't have to accept the script. You can step onto the fast lane and begin building wealth and freedom far sooner than you've been told. The journey begins with awareness. And now, you have it. So buckle up, because the next chapter will shatter another illusion, the illusion of security. We'll uncover why the paycheck you rely on might be the greatest risk of all. Chapter 2. The illusion of security. When most people think about security, they imagine a steady paycheck. That comforting number that shows up every 2 weeks, predictable and dependable. It feels safe. After all, as long as you've got that paycheck, you can pay the bills, put food on the table, maybe save a little, and live another month without worry. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That sense of security is an illusion. The golden handcuffs. Let's call it what it is. A job, even a good one, isn't security. It's dependency. And dependency is fragile. Think of it this way. If you rely on a single paycheck, you're putting your entire financial future in the hands of one company, one boss, one economic cycle. If the company downsizes, restructures, or simply decides you're no longer needed, your so-called security vanishes overnight. Have you ever heard of golden handcuffs? That's when a paycheck is just big enough to keep you comfortable, but not big enough to set you free. You're trapped. You want to leave, but the fear of losing that income holds you in place. Pause here and ask yourself, are you truly secure, or are you just comfortably trapped? A fragile foundation. Let me paint a picture. Imagine building your dream house on a cliff made of sand. It looks beautiful. The view is amazing. But deep down, you know it could collapse at any time. That's what it's like to build your entire life on a single paycheck. History is full of examples. Factories close, technology shifts, entire industries vanish. Workers who thought they had safe jobs suddenly find themselves scrambling. And here's the real danger. While you're working day after day for that sense of stability, you're not building assets, you're not building systems, and you're not building freedom. You're just renting security until someone takes it away. The slow lane's favorite lie. The slow lane whispers in your ear, stay put, don't take risks, keep your head down. One day, it will pay off. But the truth? Playing it safe is the biggest risk of all. Think about it. You're betting 40 years of your life on the hope that a system you don't control will be there for you, that your company will survive, that your pension won't vanish, that inflation won't erode your savings. That's not safety, that's gambling. A tale of two lives. Let me give you two examples. Meet Sarah. She works a corporate job, earns $80,000 a year, and contributes to her retirement plan. She feels secure because every month money arrives in her account. But all of Sarah's income is tied to one source, her employer. If that disappears, so does her lifestyle. Now meet Daniel. He built an online business that sells a product meeting a real need. His business generates sales while he sleeps. He also owns rental property that pays him monthly, and he's invested in digital assets that bring recurring revenue. Even if one stream dries up, he has others. Who is truly secure? The one with one fragile paycheck, or the one with multiple income streams built on assets? Pause and reflect. Are you Sarah, or are you Daniel? Why control equals security? The difference between illusion and real security comes down to one word: control. When you control your income, you hold the power. You decide how much you earn, when you work, and how you grow. You're not dependent on the whims of a boss or the volatility of a job market. That's why entrepreneurs, business owners, and investors often feel more secure than employees, even if their income seems riskier from the outside. They've built foundations that can adapt, expand, and survive. Security isn't about avoiding risk. It's about creating resilience. Redefining safety. Here's the mindset shift. True safety doesn't come from clinging to a job. True safety comes from building assets, solving problems, and creating value that the world rewards again and again. The job market will never give you freedom, because the job market was never designed to. But when you step into the fast lane, you stop being dependent. You start being in charge. And that's real security, the kind no employer can take away. The courage to break free. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but isn't entrepreneurship risky? Isn't building a business uncertain? Yes, it is. But here's the key: so is everything else. The difference is that when you're in control, you can respond, pivot, and adapt. In a job, you have no control. You're simply waiting for someone else to make decisions about your life. Which risk would you rather take? The risk of building something that could set you free, or the risk of doing nothing and hoping the system doesn't collapse beneath you? Reflection. Prompt. Pause here and really think. How much of your life is tied to a single paycheck? If that paycheck stopped tomorrow, how long could you sustain yourself? What assets, skills, or businesses could you start building today to move from illusion to real security? Write your answers down. And if you feel bold, share your thoughts in the comments. You'll be surprised how many others are in the same situation. Closing thoughts for Chapter 2. The slow lane feeds us the illusion that security is found in a paycheck. But the paycheck is not safety. It's dependency dressed up as security. The only real safety lies in control, in building assets, income streams, and systems that make you independent. The fast lane is not about reckless risk-taking. It's about calculated ownership of your destiny. So as we close this chapter, I want you to remember this. Your job can disappear. Your skills cannot. Your paycheck can vanish. But the value you create, the systems you build, the assets you own, that's what endures. And in the next chapter, we'll start drawing the actual map of the fast lane, the principles that allow ordinary people to create extraordinary wealth in far less time than the slow lane promises. If this chapter made you rethink what security really means, hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss the roadmap we'll uncover in the next chapter. Chapter 3. The Roadmap of the Fast Lane. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You're driving down a long highway. On the right, the slow lane is filled with cars moving inch by inch, patient, predictable, but painfully slow. On the left, there's an open stretch of road, clear and fast. That's the fast lane. It's not chaotic, it's not reckless. It's simply a different road, designed for those who understand how wealth is really created. In this chapter, we're going to lay out the roadmap of the fast lane, because unlike the vague promises of the slow lane, work hard and someday you'll retire, the fast lane has rules, principles, and a clear direction. If you follow the roadmap, you can create wealth in years, not decades. Pause and ask yourself, if the fast lane had a map, would you be ready to follow it? What exactly is the fast lane? First, let's be clear about what the fast lane is not. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not about scratching a lottery ticket or hoping your investment doubles overnight. That's gambling, and gambling is not a strategy. The fast lane is about wealth velocity accelerating how quickly money, time, and freedom come together in your life. It's about designing a system where money flows toward you because you've built something valuable, scalable, and sustainable. In other words, while the slow lane trades decades for small gains, the fast lane multiplies your effort and rewards you exponentially. The three core ingredients. Every fast lane path is built on three ingredients: leverage, scalability, and control. Let's break them down. Leverage. Leverage means amplifying your effort. Imagine pushing a car with your bare hands. It's exhausting and slow. Now imagine using a lever and a fulcrum. You suddenly move the car with far less effort. In business, leverage is technology, systems, automation, or even people. It's how you do more with less. Scalability. Scalability means your income isn't limited by your hours. A doctor, no matter how skilled, can only see so many patients in a day. But an author can sell 1,000,000 books. A software creator can sell their program to millions of users, and a YouTuber can reach millions of viewers at once. That's scalability. Control is the foundation. Without it, you're just another pawn in someone else's game. In the fast lane, you must own and direct your income streams. If you don't control it, you don't truly own it. Pause here and reflect. Where in your life right now do you have leverage, scalability, and control? And where are you completely dependent? Why the map matters. If you've ever been on a road trip without directions, you know how stressful it can be. You take wrong turns, backtrack, and waste time. That's how most people approach wealth. They wander, hoping saving a little here and investing a little there will magically lead to freedom. But the fast lane is not wandering, it's intentional navigation. The map tells you exactly where to go and what principles to follow. And here's the exciting part. Once you internalize this map, you'll start to see opportunities everywhere. You'll stop asking, "How do I make more money?" and start asking, "How do I create more value?" The wealth equation. Here's a simple formula to remember. Wealth equals net profit. X asset value, X scale. Think about it. If you create something that solves a problem, generate profit, and then scale it to more people, your wealth accelerates. For example, selling one online course at $100 might not change your life. But selling that same course to 10,000 people? That's $1,000,000. Same effort to create, different scale of outcome. That's the magic of the fast lane. It multiplies results without multiplying your hours. The problem with the traditional roadmap. Contrast this with the slow lane roadmap. It looks like this. Work 40 years. Save 10%. Invest slowly in mutual funds. Hope you don't run out of money before you die. That's not a roadmap. That's a waiting game. And worse, it's fragile. A recession, job loss, or medical crisis can throw the whole plan into chaos. Meanwhile, the fast lane roadmap doesn't rely on hope. It relies on systems, strategy, and ownership. A real-life example. Consider Lisa. She worked in marketing for years but wanted more freedom. Instead of staying in the slow lane, she built a digital service that helped small businesses run ads more effectively. At first, she served a handful of clients, but she realized her time was still capped. So, she created templates, automated tools, and online workshops. Soon, she wasn't limited by hours, she was serving thousands. Her roadmap wasn't complicated. It was leverage, plus scalability, plus control. Within 5 years, Lisa was financially free, while her colleagues were still waiting for promotions. Pause and think. What skills or knowledge do you already have that could be leveraged, scaled, and controlled to create freedom? The fast lane isn't for everyone. Now let's be honest. The fast lane requires courage. It requires questioning the script and stepping into the unknown. That's why most people stay in the slow lane. It feels safer. But here's the secret. The fast lane is no riskier than the slow lane. In fact, it might be safer because you're in control. The only difference is mindset. So ask yourself, do you want to keep following a map that leads to someday, or do you want to follow a map that creates freedom in your lifetime? Closing thoughts for Chapter 3. The Fastlane roadmap isn't a fantasy. It's real, and it's been used by countless ordinary people to create extraordinary wealth. The key principles are leverage, scalability, and control. Once you begin to see the world through this lens, you'll never see it the same way again. Suddenly, you'll notice opportunities everywhere, products that could be improved, services that could be scaled, systems that could be automated. This is the beginning of your new roadmap. In the next chapter, we're going to zoom in on the most valuable currency you'll ever own. Not money, but time. Because understanding time is the foundation of mastering the fast lane. If this chapter opened your eyes to the roadmap ahead, let me know in the comments. What part of leverage, scalability, or control excites you most? Hit that like button if you're ready to follow the fast lane map, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter on time as the ultimate currency. Chapter 4. Time is the ultimate currency. People often say, time is money. But that's not true. Money can be lost and earned back. Time, once spent, is gone forever. Time isn't money. Time is life itself. In this chapter, we'll uncover why time is the most valuable currency you'll ever own, and why the slow lane robs you of it while the fast lane multiplies it. Pause and ask yourself, if money disappeared tomorrow, what would your time be worth? The illusion of trading hours for dollars. Most people live under a silent agreement. They trade hours for dollars. 1 hour equals 1 paycheck. The problem? This is the worst exchange rate in the world. You only have a finite number of hours. If you live to be 80, you have about 700,000 hours in your lifetime. Subtract sleep, basic needs, and daily routines, and the time you actually control is far less. Do you really want to spend the majority of that time sitting in a cubicle, waiting for weekends and vacations? When you sell your hours, you sell your life. The slow lane disguises this trade as noble, responsible, even necessary. But the fast lane whispers a different truth. Wealth is about reclaiming time, not just collecting money. The freedom equation. Think of time and money as two sides of the same coin. Most people believe you must sacrifice time to earn money, but the fast lane flips that equation. You use money, systems, and leverage to buy back your time. Here's the simple formula. Freedom equals assets that earn while you rest. Imagine waking up and realizing your online store made sales while you slept, or that your investment properties sent you rent checks without you lifting a finger. That's not magic. It's the natural result of aligning with the fast lane. Pause and reflect. What in your life right now is earning while you're not working? The trap of someday slow laners love the word someday. Someday I'll travel. Someday I'll spend more time with my kids. Someday I'll pursue my passion. But someday is an illusion. It never arrives. How many people do you know who put off life until retirement, only to find themselves too tired, too sick, or too old to enjoy it? That's the tragedy of waiting. The fast lane insists on living now, not recklessly, but intentionally. You build systems that create time freedom today, not just decades from now. Multiplying time through leverage. Here's the secret to the fast lane. You can multiply your time. Not by adding more hours, but by adding more impact. For example, if you work 1 hour and it helps one person, that's 1 hour for one impact. But if you work 1 hour to create a video, a course, or a product that helps 10,000 people, your 1 hour just multiplied into 10,000 hours of impact. That's wealth. Not because of the money alone, but because your time is no longer linear, it's exponential. Pause here and consider. How could you multiply 1 hour of your time into impact for thousands? The cost of wasting time. Let's talk about the hidden price of wasting time. Every hour you spend scrolling aimlessly, binge-watching, or drowning in distractions isn't just an hour lost. It's a piece of your life you'll never get back. Imagine you have a bank account that resets every morning with 24 hours. Whatever you don't spend wisely is gone at midnight. Would you waste it? Probably not. Yet that's exactly how most people live, acting as if time is unlimited when it's not. The Fastlane mindset treats every hour as an investment. Some hours are invested in building, learning, or connecting. Others are invested in rest and joy, but none are carelessly thrown away. A story of two choices. Let's meet David and Mark. David works a steady 9 to 5. He earns $60,000 a year and spends his evenings watching TV. He believes retirement will be his reward. Mark, on the other hand, spends his evenings building an online platform that solves a real problem. For the first year, it earns him nothing. But in year 2, it begins generating a few $1,000s a month. By year 5, Mark has built a business that operates largely without him, giving him both income and time. Who's richer? David, who trades his time forever? Or Mark, who invested his time up front to buy back decades of freedom? Redefining wealth in terms of time. Here's a radical idea. Wealth should be measured in time, not dollars. Ask yourself, if you stopped working today, how many days, months, or years could you sustain your lifestyle? That's your true wealth. If your answer is 2 weeks, then no matter how nice your car or house looks, you're broke in terms of freedom. The goal of the Fastlane isn't just to have money, it's to have time wealth. To wake up and choose how you spend each day, because your life is no longer chained to a paycheck. Pause and ask yourself, how much time wealth do you currently own? Days, weeks, months, or years? Designing your time freedom. So, how do you start reclaiming time? Here are 3 practical steps. Stop selling every hour. Begin creating income streams not tied to your labor. This could be digital products, real estate, investments, or scalable services. Automate and delegate. What tasks in your life can be automated with tools or delegated to others? Every task you hand off is time you gain back. Invest time wisely. Instead of binge watching, invest evenings in building skills, businesses, or systems that can multiply your time tomorrow. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter with the hours you already have. Closing thoughts. For Chapter 4, time is the only currency that truly matters. Money without time is meaningless. Freedom without time is impossible. The Fastlane exists to help you reclaim the most precious asset of all your life hours. Never forget this. Every dollar you earn should serve one purpose: to buy back your time. In the next chapter, we'll explore the 3 financial lanes of life: the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. By the end, you'll know exactly where you're driving and how to change lanes if you're ready. If this chapter made you realize time is your real wealth, type in the comments. Time is my currency. Don't forget to like this video if it resonated, and subscribe so you never miss the next steps in this journey. Chapter 5. The sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. Imagine life as a massive highway with 3 lanes. Each lane represents a financial mindset, a way of approaching money, time, and freedom. Most people don't even realize they've chosen a lane. They simply drive where everyone else is driving. But here's the truth. Your lane determines your destination. In this chapter, we'll explore the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. 3 very different approaches to wealth. By the end, you'll know exactly which lane you're in and which one you want to drive toward. Pause and ask yourself, which lane am I really driving in today? The sidewalk. Living for today. Broke tomorrow. The first lane is the sidewalk. Sidewalkers live for the moment, spending money as fast as they earn it. To them, the weekend is the goal, payday is the finish line, and YOLO is the motto. They buy the newest phone even when last year's model works fine. They lease cars they can't afford to impress people who don't care. They drown in debt, then wonder why life feels like a treadmill. The sidewalk isn't just poverty, it's a mindset. You can earn 6 figures and still be a sidewalker if your expenses swallow every dollar. Wealth isn't about income. It's about what you keep and how you grow it. Pause here and reflect. Do you ever spend just to feel good in the moment, even if it hurts your future? That's the sidewalk trap. It feels fun, but it ends in struggle. And no matter how fast you run, the sidewalk always leads to the same place: financial insecurity. The slow lane: delayed gratification, deferred life. Next is the slow lane. This is where most people live. Slow laners are responsible, disciplined, and careful. They save diligently, avoid debt, and invest in retirement accounts. On the surface, it seems smart. But here's the problem. The slow lane still trades decades of your life for a promise of freedom later. Save for 40 years, and one day you'll retire, they say. But what if life doesn't wait? What if your health fades, or the economy crashes, or inflation devours your savings? The slow lane may feel safer than the sidewalk, but it's still built on a fragile promise. Slow laners are better off than sidewalkers, but they're still waiting for someday. Pause here. Are you living responsibly but still delaying your dreams until retirement? The fast lane. Accelerated wealth, freedom today. Finally, we arrive at the fast lane. This isn't about reckless speed, it's about acceleration with intention. Fast laners build systems, businesses, and assets that generate money independently of their time. Instead of trading hours for dollars, they trade ideas, solutions, and value for wealth. They solve problems at scale, and in return, they buy back their time. Here's the fast lane promise. You don't have to wait 40 years for freedom. You can design a life of abundance and choice far sooner if you follow the roadmap. Fast laners don't live recklessly, they live intentionally, with leverage, scalability, and control. Pause and ask yourself, does the fast lane sound risky, or does it sound like the only path worth pursuing? Comparing the three lanes. Let's line them up side by side. Sidewalk: lives for today, spends recklessly, ends broke. Slow lane: lives for tomorrow, saves responsibly, ends with delayed freedom. Fast lane: lives intentionally, builds systems, achieves freedom early. Each lane has its own price. The sidewalk costs your future. The slow lane costs your time. The fast lane costs courage. Which price are you willing to pay? Stories from the road meet Jasmine. She was a sidewalker in her 20s, spending on clothes, nights out, and gadgets. By 30, she was buried in credit card debt. Then there's Tom, the slow laner. He saved every penny, maxed out his 401k, and dreamed of retirement at 65. But when his company downsized at 55, his plan collapsed. Finally, meet Arjun, the fast laner. He built a small e-commerce brand around a product that solved a problem he experienced himself. Within 5 years, his business generated enough income to free him from his 9-to-5. Today, he spends his time traveling and mentoring others. 3 different lanes. 3 different destinations. Pause here. Whose story sounds most like yours right now? And whose story do you want to live into? Choosing your lane. Here's the empowering truth. Your lane is a choice. You can change lanes at any time. It may not be easy, it takes awareness, discipline, and courage, but it's possible. Think of your life like a GPS. If you don't like the route, you can reroute. The fast lane is always available to those who are willing to learn the rules and take the wheel. So, ask yourself honestly, which lane are you currently in? Sidewalk, slow lane, or fast lane? And what's your next step to move into the lane you desire? Closing thoughts. For Chapter 5. The highway of life has 3 lanes. Most people never stop to ask where their lane is taking them. But now, you have the awareness. You see the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane for what they are. The sidewalk leads to struggle. The slow lane leads to waiting. The fast lane leads to freedom. The question is, which lane will you choose? In the next chapter, we'll redefine what wealth really means. Spoiler alert, it's not about flashy cars or big houses. It's about something much deeper, something that will change the way you think about money forever. If this chapter made you reflect on your own lane, drop a comment below. I choose the fast lane, Don't forget to hit like if this resonates, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter on redefining wealth. Chapter 6. Wealth Defined Differently. When you hear the word wealth, what picture comes to mind? Maybe it's a sleek sports car, a mansion on the beach, or someone lounging by the pool while sipping champagne. That's the image most of society sells us. Wealth equals luxury. Wealth equals stuff. But here's the truth. Real wealth isn't about possessions. It's about freedom. Freedom to live life on your terms, without money being the leash around your neck. In this chapter, we're going to redefine wealth not as society tells you, but as it truly is. By the end, you'll see money not as an end goal, but as a tool to build a life that matters. Pause and ask yourself, what does wealth really mean to you, deep down? The myth of status symbols. We've been conditioned to equate wealth with symbols, cars, clothes, watches, and vacations. But here's the paradox. Many of the people flashing those symbols are actually broke. The man driving the $100,000 car might be drowning in debt. The couple in the big house might be one missed paycheck away from foreclosure. True wealth isn't measured by what you see on the outside, it's measured by the freedom and security you can't see. Luxury can be fun, but it's not freedom. In fact, for many, it's a trap. Every new toy comes with upkeep, stress, and more bills. The more they chase symbols, the less free they become. Pause here. Are you chasing wealth, or just the appearance of it? The true definition of wealth. Here's a new definition. Wealth is freedom of time, plus freedom of choice, plus freedom of purpose. Freedom of time means you wake up and decide what your day looks like. No boss, no schedule dictated by others. Freedom of choice means you have options. You can travel, move cities, or say no to things that don't serve you, because money isn't holding you hostage. Freedom of purpose means you can spend your life doing what matters. Whether that's creating, giving, building, or simply enjoying. That's wealth, not stuff. Wealth. Not status, not a dollar figure, but freedom. Quiet millionaires. Let me tell you a story. I once met a man who lived in a modest house, drove a simple car, and wore clothes that never screamed rich. Yet he was a millionaire many times over. His wealth came from businesses he had built years ago that continued to pay him today. On the outside, he looked average, but on the inside, he was completely free. No debt, no financial stress. His wealth was quiet, invisible to most, but powerful. Meanwhile, his neighbor, who looked richer, with luxury cars and designer suits, was buried in debt. He was a slave to appearances, not an owner of freedom. Pause and reflect. Would you rather look rich or be rich? Wealth as options. Here's the most practical way to measure wealth. Options. Can you take 6 months off to travel? Can you walk away from a toxic job or client? Can you choose to spend your days with your kids, pursue your passion, or start something new? If the answer is yes, you're wealthy, even if you don't own a mansion. If the answer is no, then no amount of luxury can change that. Wealth is about owning your life. Options are the currency of freedom. The trap of chasing more. Here's a hard truth. Chasing money for the sake of money will never end. No matter how much you make, there's always someone with more. That chase becomes endless, exhausting, and empty. The Fastlane isn't about chasing more, it's about chasing enough. Enough to fund your freedom, enough to support your purpose, enough to live life fully. Once you shift your focus from luxury to freedom, everything changes. You stop buying things you don't need. You start building things that give you time. Pause here. If you had enough money to never worry again, what would you actually do with your life? Wealth without freedom is poverty. This may sound strange, but I'll say it anyway. You can be rich and still be poor. If you earn millions but work 80 hours a week at a job you hate, you're not free. If you drive a Lamborghini but can't spend time with your kids, you're not free. If you have luxury but no peace of mind, you're not wealthy. You're trapped in golden chains. The ultimate goal of the Fastlane isn't to die with the biggest toys, it's to live with the greatest freedom. Redefining success for yourself. Now comes the important part. You must define wealth for yourself. Don't let society tell you what it looks like. For some, wealth means living quietly in nature. For others, it means traveling the world. For some, it's building a legacy for their family. The point is, wealth isn't universal. It's personal. The tragedy is that most people never stop to define it. They chase a dream that isn't even theirs. Pause and reflect. What does freedom look like for you? Not for Instagram, not for others, but for you. Closing thoughts for Chapter 6. Wealth isn't about possessions, it's about freedom. Freedom of time, choice, and purpose. Don't be fooled by the illusions of luxury. Don't chase the appearance of wealth, chase the substance of it. Because at the end of the day, true wealth is measured not in dollars, but in days lived fully, in choices made freely, and in a life that belongs entirely to you. In the next chapter, we'll dive into one of the most important principles of the Fastlane, the commandment of control. You'll learn why freedom is impossible without owning and directing your income sources, and how to start shifting that control back into your hands. If this chapter redefined what wealth means to you, comment below. Freedom is wealth. Don't forget to like this video if you're chasing freedom over status, and subscribe so you don't miss the next commandment of the Fastlane. Chapter 7. The Commandment of Control. Imagine building a house on land you don't own. You invest time, money, and energy into making it beautiful. But one day the landlord shows up and says, "Sorry, this isn't yours anymore." Just like that, everything you built is gone. That's what it's like to build your financial life without control. In this chapter, we'll explore the commandment of control, the principle that if you don't own and direct your income, you don't own your freedom. Real wealth requires control. Without it, you're always at the mercy of someone else's decisions. Pause and ask yourself, who really controls your income today? You or someone else? The danger of dependence. Most people place their entire financial destiny in the hands of a single employer. Their boss decides when they work, how much they earn, and whether they keep their job tomorrow. One person's decision can erase years of effort. That's not security, that's dependency. Even freelancers or contractors can fall into the same trap if they depend on a handful of clients. Lose one, and the whole system collapses. Dependency is fragility. Control is power. Pause here and reflect. If your primary income source disappeared tomorrow, how long could you stay afloat? Why control equals freedom? Think of control as the steering wheel of your financial vehicle. Without it, you're not driving. You're a passenger. Someone else decides the speed, the direction, and the destination. When you have control, you own the steering wheel. You choose the business model. You decide how to scale. You build systems that pay you instead of waiting for permission. Control equals freedom, because it allows you to dictate how your wealth is created and how long it lasts. Examples of losing control history is full of cautionary tales. Social media stars. Creators who build their entire businesses on platforms they don't own. One algorithm change, and their income disappears. Employees with golden handcuffs. High salaries but no ownership. They look rich, but can't walk away. Franchise owners. Some make money, but many operate under strict rules from the parent company. Limited control means limited freedom. The lesson? If you don't control the platform, the system, or the income stream, you're always vulnerable. Building control through ownership. The antidote to dependency is ownership. Ownership of assets, ownership of systems, ownership of value. If you own the business, you own the income. If you own the real estate, you own the rent. If you own the intellectual property, you own the royalties. Ownership puts you in the driver's seat. Even when challenges come, you can pivot, adapt, and rebuild because you're not waiting for permission. Pause here and ask yourself, what parts of your income do you truly own, and what parts are rented from someone else? Control in the digital age. The internet has made control more accessible than ever. You can publish books, launch e-commerce stores, build apps, or create digital products all under your ownership. Compare that to building solely on someone else's platform. Yes, platforms like YouTube, Amazon, or Instagram can be powerful tools, but smart fastlaners use them as launch pads, not cages. They funnel audiences toward assets they fully control, like their websites, email lists, or proprietary platforms. The rule is simple. Use platforms, but don't be owned by them. A story of two entrepreneurs. Let me tell you about Maria and James. Maria built her entire income on a popular social media platform. She grew quickly, earning thousands from brand deals. But when the platform changed its policies, her reach collapsed. Within months, her income vanished. James, meanwhile, started on the same platform, but he funneled his audience to his website, built an email list, and launched his own products. When algorithms shifted, his business kept growing because he owned the relationship with his customers. Who had control? Who had freedom? Pause and think. Are you Maria or are you James? Or are the Fastlane principle? The commandment of control teaches us this. If you don't control it, you don't own it. And if you don't own it, it can vanish. True Fastlane wealth is never dependent on the permission of a boss, an algorithm, or a single client. It's built on foundations you own assets that endure, even when the world changes. Action steps for gaining control audit. Your income. Write down every source of money you have. Then ask, do I own this or does someone else control it? Shift toward ownership. Start building income streams that belong to you. Whether that's a small online store, intellectual property, or rental property. Diversify with control. Don't rely on one client, one platform, or one employer. Spread your risk across multiple streams you own. Control isn't about eliminating risk, it's about shifting risk into your own hands, where you can manage it. Closing thoughts for Chapter 7. If you want freedom, you must own control. The slow lane tells you to trust the system. The fast lane teaches you to build your own. So ask yourself as we close, am I driving or am I being driven? In the next chapter, we'll explore the commandment of entry. Why barriers matter, and why easy paths rarely lead to extraordinary wealth. If this chapter made you realize how much of your income is controlled by others, comment below. I choose ownership. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you're here for the next Fast Lane principle. Chapter 8. The Commandment of Entry. Have you ever noticed that the most crowded places are usually the least rewarding? Whether it's a tourist hotspot or a bargain store, when everyone rushes in, the value gets diluted. The same is true in wealth creation. The easier the entry, the lower the reward. This is the essence of the commandment of entry. Wealth opportunities with low barriers to entry are usually overrun, saturated, and stripped of potential. The greater the challenge to enter, the greater the potential reward. Pause and ask yourself, are you chasing easy opportunities? Or are you willing to take the road with fewer footprints? Why entry barriers matter. Imagine two doors. Door 1 is wide open, no lock, easy to walk through. Thousands of people pour in every day. Inside, it's crowded, noisy, and resources are scarce. Door 2 is heavier, locked, and takes effort to open. Fewer people try. But those who do find a quiet room filled with opportunity. That's how wealth works. Easy entry opportunities attract the masses. Hard entry opportunities repel them, and that's where the gold lies. The problem with easy paths. We've all seen the ads. Make money from your phone in 30 minutes a day. Start this side hustle with zero effort. They sound attractive because they're easy. But here's the truth. If it's easy to enter, it's easy to copy. And if it's easy to copy, competition explodes. Dropshipping with no unique angle, generic social media pages, cookie-cutter freelancing gigs, these are crowded lanes. And crowded lanes rarely lead to freedom. Pause here and reflect. Are you chasing easy money ideas or building something with real entry barriers? Barriers create value barriers. Protect you. They keep competitors out and reward those who push through. Think about industries like software, medicine, or intellectual property. They require specialized knowledge, time, or investment to enter. Those barriers act as walls that guard opportunity. The bigger the wall, the fewer the competitors. And the fewer the competitors, the greater the rewards for those inside. Real-world examples. Consider authorship. Anyone can self-publish a book today. It's easy entry. That's why millions of books exist, but only a small fraction sell well. Now consider developing a piece of software that solves a niche problem. That requires skills, resources, and persistence, a higher barrier. But once created, the potential scale and profit are far greater. Or look at real estate. Buying a property requires capital, research, and patience, a higher barrier. But that barrier also filters out the masses and creates long-term wealth. Pause here and think. What barrier are you willing to overcome that others won't? The illusion of avoiding difficulty. Human nature wants to avoid difficulty. We want shortcuts, hacks, and the path of least resistance. But here's the paradox. The harder the barrier, the fewer the people. And the fewer the people, the greater the prize. Ask any Fastlaner and they'll tell you, wealth is rarely found in the easy, obvious places. It's found where persistence, creativity, and resilience are required. Your unique advantage. Here's the good news. Barriers are not obstacles. They're opportunities. Because every barrier you overcome becomes part of your moat, your advantage. If you develop a unique skill that takes years to master, you've built a barrier. If you invest in technology or tools that others can't afford, you've built a barrier. If you solve a problem in a way that's difficult to replicate, you've built a barrier. The very thing others avoid is what can set you free. Pause and ask yourself, what skills, knowledge, or strengths do you already have that could serve as a barrier others can't easily cross? A tale of two businesses. Meet Daniel and Claire. Daniel jumps into selling generic products online. It's easy to start. He just copies what others are selling. But soon, he's competing with thousands, slashing prices, and barely surviving. Claire, on the other hand, spends months designing a unique solution for a specific market. It's harder. It takes longer. But when she launches, she stands alone. Her barrier is her creativity and persistence. Within 2 years, her business thrives, while Daniel is still drowning in competition. Which path looks more like yours right now? Action steps to embrace barriers. Seek difficulty, not ease. The harder the challenge, the higher the potential reward. Develop rare skills. Learn skills others avoid. Specialization builds barriers. Add layers of protection. Intellectual property, brand loyalty, and unique systems create walls around your wealth. Stop chasing copycats. If thousands are already doing it, find a different door. Remember, barriers are your friend. They protect your Fastlane journey. Closing thoughts. For Chapter 8, the commandment of entry is simple. Easy paths rarely lead to wealth. Harder paths, with higher barriers, filter out the crowd and protect the prize. If you're willing to push where others won't, you'll find opportunities others never will. The fast lane isn't the easy road, it's the road that requires courage. And that's exactly why it works. In the next chapter, we'll explore the commandment of need. Why solving problems for others is the heart of true wealth creation. If this chapter shifted your perspective on barriers, comment below. I choose the harder road. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you're ready for the next commandment of the fast lane. Chapter 9. The Commandment of Need. If you want to create real wealth, forget chasing money for its own sake. The secret isn't in dollar signs. It's in solving problems. Money flows to those who meet needs, solve pain, and make life better for others. This is the commandment of need. True fast-lane wealth doesn't come from selfish desires. It comes from providing value. The bigger the need you solve, the greater the wealth that flows back to you. Pause and ask yourself, whose problem am I solving right now? Why chasing money fails? Many people enter business thinking, how can I make the most money? But that question is backwards. When you chase money directly, you end up chasing fads, scams, or copycat businesses. Think about it. Pyramid schemes, get-rich-quick programs, or gimmick products. They all start with the wrong focus, making money, not creating value. And what happens? They collapse, leaving people burned and bitter. The fast lane flips the question, whose need can I meet? What problem can I solve? Money then becomes the byproduct of value, not the target. The wealth formula. Here's the simplest wealth formula you'll ever learn. Wealth equals solve needs ex scale of impact. Solve a small need for a few people, you'll make a little. Solve a big need for millions, you'll make a fortune. The richer the need, the bigger the opportunity. Pause here. What needs do you see around you every day that remain unsolved? The pain principle. Every fortune is built on pain points. Uber solved the pain of unreliable taxis. Amazon solved the pain of inconvenient shopping. Netflix solved the pain of boring TV schedules. Each of these companies didn't chase money, they solved frustrations. And in doing so, money chased them. Wealth doesn't come from inventing demand. It comes from identifying pain and eliminating it. Needs versus wants. Not all markets are created equal. Needs are stronger than wants. A want, I'd like a new video game. A need, I need affordable housing. Wants can disappear in a downturn, but needs persist. People always need solutions for health, time, convenience, connection, or security. That's why fastlaners focus on solving needs with staying power. Pause and reflect. Am I focusing on a want or a real need? Listening to the market. The best entrepreneurs are great listeners. They don't sit in a room and guess what people want. They pay attention to frustrations, inefficiencies, and struggles. Look around your own life. What frustrates you daily? What do your friends complain about? What system feels broken? That's the sound of opportunity knocking. Fastlaners train their ears to hear complaints as gold mines. The scale of impact. Remember, need alone isn't enough. Scale matters. If you solve a small need for one person, you've helped, but you haven't created wealth. But if you solve that same need for 1 million people, you've transformed your life. For example, tutoring one student helps. Creating an online course that helps thousands is wealth. Cooking one meal feeds a friend. Building a restaurant chain feeds millions. Wealth multiplies with scale. Pause here. How could you scale the solutions you already provide? A story of two entrepreneurs. Meet Adam and Leah. Adam wanted to make money, so he opened a store selling random trinkets he thought people might buy. He struggled because he was guessing at demand. Leah, on the other hand, noticed her coworkers constantly struggled to stay organized at work. She created a simple digital tool to streamline their tasks. Word spread, more people adopted it, and soon she had a growing business. Adam chased money. Leah solved a need. Guess who thrived? Turning needs into opportunities. Here's how you can start applying the commandment of need right now. Observe frustrations. Keep a notebook of daily annoyances, yours and others. Ask questions. What would make this easier, faster, cheaper, better? Validate before building. Don't assume your idea matters, test it. If people are willing to pay, you've found a real need. Focus on impact. Design solutions that can scale to help many, not just a few. When in doubt, follow this golden rule. Don't ask, how can I make money? Ask, how can I solve this pain? Closing thoughts for Chapter 9. The commandment of need is the heart of the fast lane. Money doesn't come to those who chase it. It comes to those who solve problems, ease pain, and serve others. If you want to be wealthy, stop asking for money and start looking for needs. Solve them at scale, and wealth will chase you faster than you can imagine. In the next chapter, we'll tackle the commandment of time. why true wealth must break free from the trap of trading time for money, and how to build systems that earn while you sleep. If this chapter made you rethink wealth as service instead of chasing money, comment below. I solve problems. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next Fastlane commandment. Chapter 10. The Commandment of Time. Picture a ticking clock on the wall. Every tick is a second gone. Every second is a piece of your life. Now imagine tying every one of those ticks directly to $1. If you stop working, the clock stops paying. That's the reality of trading time for money, and it's a trap. The commandment of time says this: true wealth must be independent of your hours. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you're not free. You're enslaved to the clock. Pause and ask yourself, if I stopped working tomorrow, how long would my income last? The linear trap. Employees, freelancers, even many small business owners fall into the same trap. Linear income. 1 hour of work equals 1 hour of pay. Miss an hour, miss the pay. Get sick, go on vacation, or simply want a break. The income dries up. This is not freedom. It's disguised servitude. Even doctors, lawyers, or consultants, high-income earners, often remain in the trap. Their income is impressive, but their freedom is non-existent. Wealth in the fast lane requires breaking this tie. The power of detachment. Here's the secret. Income must detach from hours. Think about musicians. They spend months creating an album, but once released, it can sell millions of times without additional effort. Authors write a book once but earn royalties for years. Entrepreneurs build a system that continues generating sales long after their hands leave the wheel. That's the fast lane principle. Front-loaded work that pays repeatedly. Pause here. What could you build once that continues to produce value again and again? Systems over labor. Systems are the engine of fast-lane freedom. A system is anything that continues producing results without your constant input. An online store with automated fulfillment is a system. A rental property with property management is a system. A digital product that sells through a funnel is a system. Systems multiply your time. Instead of working 8 hours a day, your systems work 24/7, across the globe, while you rest. Story of the two coaches meet Brian and Alicia. Brian is a personal trainer. He works one-on-one with clients, earning good money but tied to appointments. If he doesn't show up, he doesn't get paid. Alicia, also a trainer, decides to film her workouts, design programs, and sell them online. Within a year, she's serving thousands of clients around the world without being tied to a single appointment. Brian earns through hours. Alicia earns through systems. Who's really free? Pause here. Which path are you currently closer to? Brian's or Alicia's? Multiplication through assets. The commandment of time is really about asset creation. Assets are things that keep working even when you stop. Intellectual property, like books, courses, or software. Businesses with employees or automation. Investments that generate passive cash flow. Each asset you build is like a worker hired for life. They don't sleep. They don't call in sick. They keep producing. The illusion of hard work. We've all been taught, work hard and you'll succeed. But hard work alone doesn't guarantee freedom. If your hard work is always tied to hours, you'll just be a harder working prisoner. Smart fastlaners don't just work hard. They work to build detachment. They invest their effort into creating assets that outlive the hours spent. Pause and reflect. Are you working hard to stay busy or working smart to get free? The time wealth test. Here's a powerful way to measure your progress. Ask yourself, if I stopped working today, how many months or years could I maintain my lifestyle? If the answer is a week or a month, you're still in the time trap. If the answer is years or forever, you've unlocked time wealth. The fast lane goal is to increase that number until your income is no longer tied to your labor. How to break the tie. Identify work that can scale. Can your knowledge be packaged into a course, book, or tool? Automate processes. Use technology to handle tasks you shouldn't. Delegate early. Build teams to free your time from repetitive work. Focus on long-term assets. Prioritize projects that continue producing value after you step away. This is how you slowly cut the leash, tying your income to the clock. Closing thoughts for Chapter 10. The commandment of time reminds us that life is too short to sell away every hour. Real wealth isn't about making more per hour. It's about creating income that flows without hours. Freedom comes when your time and income are divorced, when you wake up and know the clock no longer owns you. In the next chapter, we'll move into the commandment of scale, the principle that determines how far and how fast your wealth can grow once you've detached from time. If this chapter hit home for you, drop a comment below. I refuse to trade time for money. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you're ready to learn how to scale your impact in the next commandment. Chapter 11. The commandment of scale. Imagine planting a seed. If it grows into a single tree, it feeds only your household. But if that seed multiplies into a vast forest, it feeds generations. That's the power of scale. The commandment of scale says this: your wealth is determined not only by solving needs, but by how many people you solve those needs for. The broader your reach, the greater your reward. Pause and ask yourself, is my work serving a handful of people, or could it serve thousands or millions? The limitation of small impact. Many businesses remain trapped because they serve too few. The corner bakery may work tirelessly, but its impact is limited to a few hundred customers a week. The local tutor may change lives, but only for a handful of students. There's nothing wrong with small service, but if your goal is Fastlane freedom, you must think bigger. Impact multiplied equals wealth multiplied. The magic of scale is why one book can touch millions while one speech reaches only a room. Scale is why one software program can serve users across continents, while one consultant can only handle a few clients. When you scale, you separate effort from outcome. A single unit of work recording a video, building a tool, designing a product, can ripple outward to thousands or millions. Pause here. What in your life could be scaled beyond your immediate circle? The Internet, the great multiplier. For much of history, scale was limited. Only kings, industrialists, or large corporations could reach the masses. But today, technology has leveled the playing field. YouTube allows a single video to be watched millions of times. Amazon allows a single author to sell books worldwide. Online platforms allow a small creator to reach a global audience overnight. The Internet is the greatest multiplier in history, but only those who understand scale harness it for wealth. A tale of two entrepreneurs. Meet Rachel and Omar. Rachel runs a small boutique. Her impact is limited to her town. Every sale requires her presence. Her income grows slowly, capped by geography and hours. Omar, meanwhile, designs a clothing brand and uses e-commerce to sell worldwide. He invests in systems and marketing that allow his products to reach tens of thousands. Both are selling clothes. But Rachel serves dozens. Omar serves thousands. Who's on the fast lane? Pause here. Are you thinking like Rachel or like Omar? Scale doesn't always mean size. Now, don't mistake scale for bigness. Scale isn't about having a massive company with thousands of employees. It's about reach. A single person can scale if they leverage the right tools. One app developer can serve millions. One YouTuber can impact a global audience. One author can reach across languages and cultures. Scale is about multiplying value without multiplying effort. The wealth equation expanded earlier, we said, wealth equals solve needs x scale of impact. Now let's expand it. Wealth equals solve needs x scale plus systems that multiply. It's not enough to solve a problem. You must solve it for as many people as possible, in a way that grows beyond your hours. Overcoming the fear of scale. Many people hesitate when they think about scale. They imagine it requires huge resources, giant teams, or impossible effort. But remember, scale is about smart design, not brute force. One well-designed system can reach millions without requiring millions in resources. The barrier isn't resources, it's mindset. Pause and reflect. Am I shrinking my dreams because I fear scale? Or am I designing for reach from the beginning? Action steps to build scale. Think beyond local. Whatever you do, ask, how can this serve people outside my immediate area? Digitize value. Books, courses, software, or media are infinitely scalable. Leverage technology. Use tools that multiply reach ads, automation, platforms. Design for many, not few. Build products and services that can be replicated without you. Scale isn't an accident. It's engineered from the start. Closing thoughts for Chapter 11. The commandment of scale reminds us, wealth flows to those who impact many. Serving 1 or 10 may feed you. Serving thousands or millions can free you. If you want Fastlane freedom, stop thinking small. Start thinking scalable. The seed you plant today can grow into a forest tomorrow, if you design it to. In the next chapter, we'll get practical with Millionaire math, breaking down how small changes in numbers can multiply into massive results when paired with scale. Chapter 12. The Millionaire Math. Most people think becoming a millionaire requires luck, genius, or some magical windfall. The truth? It's math. Simple math. If you understand the numbers behind wealth, you'll see that financial freedom is not a dream, it's a formula. In this chapter, we'll break down millionaire math, the way small numbers multiplied by scale create extraordinary wealth. Pause and ask yourself, do I truly understand the math of wealth? Or have I been relying on hope? The lie of someday math. Traditional advice says, save $500 a month, invest in the stock market, and in 40 years, you'll retire rich. That's slow lane math. It's based on compound interest, patience, and decades of waiting. Yes, it works, but it costs you the best years of your life. The fast lane has a different formula, one that doesn't take 40 years. The wealth equation. Here's the simple fast lane wealth equation. Wealth equals units sold, X profit per unit, X frequency of purchase. Let's unpack it. Units sold. How many people you serve. Profit per unit. How much you earn each time. Frequency. How often customers return or repurchase. Multiply those three, and you see the real path to wealth. A simple example. Imagine you create a digital product that sells for $50. Sell it to 100 people. $5,000. Sell it to 10,000 people. $500,000. Sell it to 100,000 people. $5 million. The product doesn't change. The effort to create it is the same. The only change is scale. That's millionaire math. Pause here. What could you create once that could be sold again and again? The power of recurring income. Now add in frequency. A one-time sale is good, but recurring income is freedom. Think about subscriptions, memberships, or services people pay for every month. Netflix doesn't rely on one-time purchases, it relies on millions of recurring payments. If you have 1,000 people paying you $50 a month, that's $50,000 a month, or $600,000 a year. Scale that further, and the numbers explode. That's the math of predictable wealth. The cost of ignoring the numbers. Here's the danger. Most people never do the math. They start businesses or projects without understanding the numbers required to reach freedom. For example, someone selling $10 trinkets with a $2 profit margin will struggle. They'd need to sell 500,000 units just to make $1 million. Without scale, that math collapses. The fast lane isn't about working harder. It's about choosing numbers that work in your favor. Pause and reflect. Are my current efforts mathematically capable of making me wealthy? Real-life millionaire math. Let's look at real examples. A software company charges $20 a month. With 50,000 users, that's $1 million a month in revenue. A YouTuber earns $2 per thousand views. With 20 million monthly views, that's $40,000. An online educator sells a $200 course to 5,000 students. That's $1 million. Each example isn't magic, it's multiplication. The leverage multiplier. Remember, the Fastlane uses leverage. One book, one video, one course, one app. Each can be replicated infinitely at almost no extra cost. That's how numbers scale. Contrast that with non-scalable work. A hairstylist may charge $100 per cut. Even working non-stop, there's a cap. No matter how hard they try, the math doesn't add up to freedom. The key question is, does my math scale? Designing with math in mind. Here's how to design your own millionaire math. Set your freedom number. How much income do you need yearly to be free? Let's say it's $100,000. Choose a vehicle. What product, service, or asset could deliver recurring or scalable income? Do the math. Break it down. How many units, at what profit, at what frequency do you need to hit the number? Adjust the variables. Increase price, improve margins, or expand scale to make the math work. Wealth stops being abstract when you see the equation clearly. A story of two paths. Meet Mia and Jordan. Mia opened a small bakery. Her math worked only if she sold thousands of pastries every week. She worked non-stop, but her math was capped. Jordan built an online platform teaching bread making. He sold courses for $99 and reached 20,000 students worldwide. His math scaled. Both loved baking. Only one applied millionaire math. Guess who bought back their time? Pause here. What passion of yours could be scaled through better math? Closing thoughts for Chapter 12. Millionaire math is simple. It's not about luck. It's about multiplication. Wealth is just numbers. Units, profit, frequency, and scale. The slow lane math says, wait decades. The fast lane math says, design smarter systems now. In the next chapter, we'll uncover the truth about passive income, why it isn't effortless, but why it's the most powerful result of applying millionaire math correctly. If this chapter helped you see wealth as numbers instead of luck, comment below. Wealth is math. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter on passive income. Chapter 13. The truth about passive income. Passive income. Two words that light up imaginations. We picture money flowing while we sleep, vacations funded automatically, and freedom without effort. But here's the truth. Passive income is not free income. It isn't magic. It isn't a lottery. It's front-loaded work that pays dividends long after the effort is complete. In this chapter, we'll strip away the myths about passive income and uncover the real path to building it in the fast lane. Pause and ask yourself, do I see passive income as a fantasy or as a system I can actually build? The myth of do nothing, get rich. Most people misunderstand passive income. They think it means zero effort money falling from the sky. That's why scams thrive. Buy my system and money will flow forever. But here's the reality. Passive income requires massive active effort up front. Writing a book, creating software, designing a course, or building a business, these are hard, demanding, time-intensive projects. The difference is that once built, they keep producing without equal amounts of effort later. That's where the magic lies. Front-loaded work. Think of passive income like planting seeds. The planting takes energy, time, and commitment. But once the crop grows, it keeps producing. Write a book once, collect royalties for years. Build software once, license it endlessly. Record a course once, sell it thousands of times. Buy a rental property once, earn rent every month. The common thread? Work up front, income later. That's passive. Pause here. What seeds could you plant today that might produce harvests for years to come? The different types of passive income. Let's break down some common forms. Intellectual property. Books, music, software, videos. Created once, sold repeatedly. Digital assets. Websites, courses, apps, or media that generate recurring revenue. Businesses with systems. Companies that operate with automation or staff. Investments. Real estate, stocks, dividends, or royalties from ownership. Each has different levels of effort, risk, and payoff. But all share the principle: create once, earn many times. The trap of false passive income. Not everything that looks passive really is. Some businesses masquerade as passive, but still demand constant attention. For example, many landlords think rental property is passive until the plumbing breaks at 2 a.m. The trick is building management systems. True passive income only exists when you're not the bottleneck. If you must personally show up every time, it's not passive. It's just another job. Pause and reflect. Are my current income streams truly passive? Or am I just trading tasks for dollars in disguise? Why passive income matters. Passive income isn't just about money. It's about time freedom. Imagine earning enough passive income to cover your living expenses. What happens? You're no longer working for survival. You're working for choice. This is called financial independence. It's the tipping point where money is no longer your master, but your servant. And once you cross that line, life transforms. The snowball effect. Here's the beautiful thing about passive income. It compounds. At first, the returns feel small. A trickle of royalties, a few subscribers, a rental check. But over time, as assets grow and multiply, the trickle becomes a stream, then a river. Fastlaners understand this. They don't chase instant gratification. They build assets that snowball over years, eventually freeing them entirely. A story of passive success. Take Marcus. He spent a year developing an online tool to help freelancers track expenses. At first, sales were slow, but he kept improving it, adding features and marketing. By year 2, he had 5,000 paying users at $10 per month. That's $50,000 every month, mostly automated. Marcus worked hard up front, but today his income flows largely without him. Contrast that with his friend Julia, who freelances full-time. She earns good money, but every dollar requires a new project. No work, no pay. Who's really free? Pause here. Are you building like Marcus, front-loading work into assets, or living like Julia, trading time forever? How to start building passive income. Pick your vehicle. Books, courses, apps, real estate. Choose what fits your skills and interests. Front-load with intensity. Expect heavy work up front. Don't fall for easy promises. Systematize everything. Use automation, technology, or management to remove yourself from daily operations. Reinvest the returns. Use passive income to fund more assets, compounding freedom. Remember, passive income isn't built in a weekend. It's built with persistence. Closing thoughts. For Chapter 13, the truth about passive income is this. It's not effortless. It demands sweat, strategy, and sacrifice. But once built, it becomes the engine of freedom. The slow lane says work 40 years for security. The fast lane says build assets today that pay you tomorrow and for decades to come. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the fast lane mindset, the psychology that separates ordinary thinkers from wealth creators. Because without the right mindset, no amount of math or systems will set you free. If this chapter shifted your perspective on passive income, drop a comment. I build assets, not jobs. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you're ready for the next chapter on the fast lane mindset. Chapter 14, the fast lane mindset. We've talked about strategies, systems, and equations. But here's the truth. None of it matters without the right mindset. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve comes down to how they think. The fast lane mindset isn't about shortcuts. It's about a way of seeing the world. It's the mental engine that powers everything else. Without it, even the best plan will stall. With it, even setbacks become fuel. Pause and ask yourself, am I thinking like a slow lander or like a fast laner? The mindset of the slow lane. Slow laners think small. They think security comes from jobs, that saving pennies will make them wealthy, that risk is dangerous, and that freedom can wait until old age. Their questions sound like this. How can I play it safe? How little can I spend? What's the minimum I can do to get by? This mindset isn't evil, it's just limiting. It caps possibility before the journey even begins. The Fastlane mindset. Now compare that with the Fastlane mindset. It asks different questions. How can I create value at scale? What problems can I solve? What systems can I build that last beyond me? Fastlaners see abundance, not scarcity. They believe failure is feedback, not the end. They see challenges as invitations, not obstacles. Pause here and reflect. Which set of questions do you tend to ask yourself? Embracing failure as feedback. Here's a hard truth. Failure is inevitable. Every Fastlaner has stumbled, lost money, faced setbacks, or launched products that flopped. The difference? They don't see failure as fatal. To them, failure is data. It's feedback telling them what to fix, where to pivot, and how to grow. Slow laners fear failure and avoid risk. Fast laners expect failure and use it as fuel. Ask yourself, am I avoiding failure or am I using it to move forward? The power of long-term thinking. The fast lane isn't instant gratification. It's accelerated gratification. Fast laners still work, sacrifice, and persist. But instead of waiting 40 years, they compress decades into years by thinking long-term while acting decisively today. They know building an asset takes time. They know systems don't scale overnight. But they're willing to invest now to enjoy freedom far sooner than the slow lane promises. Patience plus persistence, that's the fast lane mindset. Reprogramming your beliefs. Many of us were raised with limiting beliefs. Money is evil. Rich people are greedy. Success is for the lucky or gifted. These beliefs sabotage potential. The fast lane mindset rejects them. Wealth isn't evil, it's neutral. It simply amplifies who you are. Success isn't about luck. It's about leverage, persistence, and service. Pause here. What money beliefs are you still carrying that might be holding you back? The circle of influence. Your mindset is shaped by who you surround yourself with. If you spend time with people who complain, play small, and fear risk, you'll adopt their thinking. But if you spend time with creators, entrepreneurs, and problem solvers, your thinking expands. You start to believe bigger things are possible. Fast laners curate their circle. They seek inspiration instead of negativity. Ask yourself, do the people around me fuel my dreams or drain them? Abundance versus scarcity. At its core, the fast lane mindset is rooted in abundance. Scarcity says, there isn't enough. Abundance says, there's plenty if I create value. Scarcity hoards. Abundance serves. Scarcity waits for opportunities. Abundance creates them. Which one are you choosing today? A story of transformation. Take Elena. She grew up believing money was evil and that wealth was for other people. She worked hard, saved, but never dared to think big. Then she started surrounding herself with entrepreneurs. She learned to reframe failure, to see problems as opportunities, and to adopt abundance thinking. Within years, she launched a small business that scaled globally. What changed? Not her skills, not at first. Her mindset. Pause here. What could shift in your life if you simply believed bigger? Action steps to cultivate the fast lane. Mindset. Reframe. Failure. See every mistake as feedback. Ask bigger questions. Replace, how do I make money with, how do I solve problems at scale? Curate your circle. Surround yourself with people who think bigger. Challenge limiting beliefs. Rewrite your money story to one of abundance and service. Mindset isn't fixed, it's trained. And the more you practice fast lane thinking, the more natural it becomes. Closing thoughts. For Chapter 14, The Fast Lane. Mindset is the fuel that drives everything. Without it, wealth strategies crumble. With it, even setbacks become stepping stones. Choose to think abundantly. Choose to embrace failure. Choose to ask bigger questions. because the way you think determines the life you build. In the next chapter, we'll move from mindset to practice, designing your Fastlane business. We'll explore how to identify industries, opportunities, and models that align with the Fastlane commandments you've learned so far. If this chapter helped shift your thinking, comment below. I choose the Fastlane mindset. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the practical steps in the next chapter. Chapter 15. Designing your Fastlane business. At this point, you know the commandments. You know the difference between the slow lane and the fast lane. You know wealth is about solving needs, scaling impact, and detaching income from time. But knowledge alone won't free you. Now it's time to put the pieces together and design your Fastlane business. Pause and ask yourself, what kind of business could I design that solves a need, scales, and frees my time? The blueprint for a Fastlane business. Every successful Fastlane business is built on the same foundation. It solves a real need. It scales beyond you. It detaches income from your hours. It gives you control and ownership. It creates lasting value. If your business doesn't align with these rules, it's not the fast lane. It's a disguised slow lane. Choosing the right vehicle. Think of your business as a vehicle. Some vehicles crawl, others fly. Choosing the right one determines how fast you reach freedom. Freelancing or consulting. Good money, but still time-dependent. Slow lane. Service-based business with systems. Better if you can delegate. Digital products or software. Strong scale and detachment. Fast lane potential. E-commerce brand. Excellent if designed with automation and unique value. Real estate? Can be fast lane if managed with leverage and systems. The question isn't what makes the most money, but which vehicle aligns with fast lane principles? Identifying opportunities. Opportunities hide in plain sight. Look for frustrations. What do people complain about daily? Inefficiencies. What's slow, outdated, or broken? Emerging trends. What industries are growing rapidly? Personal pain points. What annoys you that no one has solved? Every complaint is a potential business idea. Pause here. What frustrations in your own life could be solved with a scalable solution? The MVP approach. Don't wait for perfection launch with a minimum viable product, MVP. It's better to start with something small, test the market, and refine than to waste years building what nobody wants. Fastlaners move fast, test often, and adjust quickly. Perfection comes later. Feedback comes first. A story of two starters. Meet Alex and Nina. Alex dreamed of building a massive platform. He spent 3 years perfecting it, but by the time he launched, the market had moved on. Nina, meanwhile, launched a simple version of her idea within 3 months. She gathered feedback, improved it, and grew with her customers. Within 2 years, Nina had a thriving business. Speed beats perfection. Fastlaners launch, learn, and iterate. Systems over self. Remember this. If your business requires you every day, it's not freedom, it's a job. Your Fastlane business must be designed with systems, automation, or teams. Ask yourself, how can this business run without me? Automate repetitive tasks with technology. Delegate to staff or freelancers. Document processes so others can replicate them. The goal is to remove yourself from the bottleneck. Pause and reflect. If you stepped away for a month, would your business survive or collapse? Building for scale. Think global from the start. Even if you begin local, design with scale in mind. Ask, can this product be delivered digitally? Can this service expand to new markets? Can my message reach millions through media or technology? If your business can't scale, it will trap you. If it can, it will free you. The freedom test. Here's a simple test for any business idea. Does it solve a real need? Can it scale to thousands or millions? Does it detach income from your time? Do you control it fully? If the answer is yes to all four, you're on the fast lane. If not, you're building another job. A personal roadmap. Now it's your turn. Take a notebook and write down my skills. What am I good at? My interests. What do I enjoy? My observations. What problems do I see daily? My potential vehicle. Which business model aligns with Fastlane principles? This isn't theory. This is your personal roadmap. Closing thoughts for Chapter 15. Designing your Fastlane business isn't about chasing random ideas. It's about aligning with principles: need, scale, time detachment, control, and systems. When you design with these in mind, you stop building jobs and start building freedom. In the final chapter, we'll bring it all together. We'll revisit the journey, summarize the principles, and challenge you to make the choice that will define your future. Will you stay in the slow lane, or will you hit the accelerator and embrace the fast lane? If this chapter inspired you to start sketching your fast lane idea, comment below. I'm designing my fast lane business. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you're ready for the final chapter. Chapter 16. Your fast lane journey begins. We've traveled a long road together. From breaking free of the slow lane, to redefining wealth, to learning the commandments of the fast lane, you now hold the map in your hands. But here's the truth. A map is useless if you never start the engine. Knowledge is only potential power. Action is what transforms it into freedom. Pause and ask yourself, am I ready to stop waiting and start driving my own fast lane journey? The choice before you. You now know the 3 lanes of life. The sidewalk living for today, broke tomorrow. The slow lane living responsibly, but waiting decades for freedom. The fast lane creating systems, solving needs, scaling impact, and buying back time. Which lane you drive in is your choice. Most people stay where they are, not because they can't change lanes, but because they're afraid to. Afraid of risk, afraid of failure, afraid of stepping off the well-worn path. But fear doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. The fast lane frees you. Wealth is a choice. Here's something powerful. Wealth isn't a lottery ticket. It isn't luck. It isn't reserved for the chosen few. It's a choice. A series of decisions made with courage, persistence, and vision. Every fast laner you admire started with nothing but a decision. I refuse to accept the script. I choose a different road. The same choice lies in front of you right now. Action, not perfection. You don't need a perfect plan to begin. You don't need millions in the bank or years of experience. You need action. Start small. Test ideas. Learn by doing. Pivot when necessary. Every mile forward brings clarity. Every step in the fast lane builds momentum. Fast laners don't wait for someday. They act today. Pause here. What is one action you can take within the next 24 hours to move closer to the fast lane? The journey is the reward. Yes, the destination matters. Freedom, time, wealth. But don't miss the joy of the journey. Building something of value, solving problems, impacting lives, that's fulfillment. Money alone won't satisfy you. Purpose will. Freedom will. The fast lane gives you both. A story of transformation. Think back to Lisa, Daniel, Omar, or Marcus. The stories we've shared. They weren't superheroes. They were ordinary people who made extraordinary choices. They saw the map, stepped into the driver's seat, and embraced the fast lane mindset. Today, their lives look radically different. Not because of luck, but because of action. Your story can be the next one. Your legacy. One day, you'll look back on your life. The question won't be, how many hours did I trade for money? It will be, what did I build? Whose lives did I impact? What freedom did I create for myself and my loved ones? That's your legacy. And it begins now, with the decisions you make today. The fast lane awaits. So here we are, the end of this book, but the beginning of your journey. The road stretches ahead. The slow lane is crowded, predictable, and safe. The fast lane is open, challenging, but full of possibility. The question is simple. Will you stay stuck in traffic, or will you hit the accelerator and drive your life into freedom? The fast lane isn't for dreamers, it's for doers. And now, you have everything you need to begin. Closing challenge. As we wrap up, I want you to pause, really pause, and answer this. What lane will you choose for your life? If you choose the fast lane, declare it right now. Write it down. Say it out loud. Comment it below. I choose the fast lane. Because the moment you choose, your journey begins. If this book inspired you to take action, don't just close it and move on. Share your biggest takeaway in the comments. Hit like if you're ready to accelerate your life, and subscribe for more insights to keep your journey fueled. The fast lane is waiting. The engine is running. Now it's your turn to drive.